Oh man. Good evening, everyone. Well, live from London, UK, all the way to the US of A and worldwide. I'm your host, Kalam. This is Talk of the Titans. Yeah. So, today I felt like, you know what, I'll be cheating you guys out of a good show if I don't put on the show. Right now, I'm even feeling too up to the weather. So, that's why I'm kind of hiding behind my avatar. But what I'm going to do is welcome you guys actually on. So if you guys would like to come on to the panel and actually discuss this topic, I know I've given you guys the opportunity earlier on to join us and be part of it and actually give your 2 cents. Guys who are part of the scientific community, I'm definitely want you guys to come on. My atheists definitely want you guys to come on and represent. So if you got brother Answer in the building or somewhere around, or somebody can get in contact with Answer, let them know that we're actually live right now. And yeah, we're going to be talking about where did human beings come from. Okay, where did human beings come from? Of course, there's various different hypotheses or theories out there. There is religious teachings, i.e., human beings came from Adam. We've got new age type of stuff to do with aliens that created mankind. I say new age, it does go back. Some people will say it goes back to Sumerian style stories. And then, of course, we've got the theory of evolution. And yeah, if there's anything else that I'm missing as to where human beings came from, please educate myself and educate the audience. We're definitely all here. We're tuned in. We want to get some we want to actually get it in. Begavelli's in the building right now as well. Jeez. All right. So I'm actually gonna do this. Yeah, I'm gonna do another invite. Okay, so I'm inviting you guys on. If you guys would like to join the panel, all you have to do, because this is a panel-led show today, I'm taking the back seat. It's my day to just be off. All right. So I'm gonna take a back seat. I'm gonna let you guys kind of run the show. So if you guys want to be part of the show, all you have to do is go downstairs into the description box right down underneath the video. Some of you guys may need to how do you do, refresh your app or refresh your YouTube screen, and then you'll see it. It's literally in the description box. It's got the Hangouts link if you would like to join. All right. So this is what we're gonna do right now. Let's get it in. Let's actually get it in. So brother Raul, if you would like to, sorry, Raf, I'm not saying Raul, man. Raf, my brother, if you would like to actually jump in and actually give us your hypothesis or theory as to where human beings came from, that will be very much welcomed. And whilst we're waiting, fam, don't forget to hit the like button, baby. Hit the like button and let's get it in. Come on, G. Hit the like button. You lot can't be all here tuned in, yeah, not hitting the like button. You lot must be here for something, right? Hit the like button, baby. Hit the like button. All right, let's go.
Okay. So this is what I understand from the explanation of evolution. And what we have to do first is define certain terms. And what we start off with is the term ape. What is an ape? So a lot of people go, oh, we're not apes. We are actually, when you go and research what ape is, an ape is what we call human beings. We're part of the great ape family. There's two types of apes. There's the lesser ape, which would be a gibbon, or sometimes they put orangutans there. And then you have the greater apes, which is the gorillas, the chimpanzees, and humans, what we call today Homo sapiens sapien. And what happens is that about 8 million years ago, we have the split between chimpanzees and what we call the lineage of the hominin family, well, not the Homo family, the hominin, I think they call it the hominini family or the hominin family. I need to check that out. But anyway, you can go check it up afterwards anyway, because this is all, I'm just summing it up for you guys to understand. So basically, we have, starting from, I think it's Australopithecus afarensis, which is found in southern Africa. Then you have Australopithecus, I'm not sure exactly the name of it, but it's to do with Lucy right now. We're talking about what scientists know today as Lucy. And what's interesting about this Lucy is that she looks like a chimpanzee, but she walks like a human, what we know today as us, Homo sapiens sapien. So later on down the line, we have what we have is the first, what we consider the first hominin family member, and that is Homo habilis. Homo habilis begins 2.5 million years ago. Then later on down the line, we have what we call Homo ergaster. Homo ergaster is the African version of what we call in Asia Homo erectus, and there's another ancestor which they call Homo georgopithecus or thing, or Homo georgicus or something like that. And roughly after that, about a few years down the line, they have not a few years, a million years down the line, we have what's it called Homo heidelbergensis. Homo heidelbergensis is what gives birth to Homo sapien, Homo neanderthalis. This is what a lot of people say Neanderthals are not hominins. Neanderthals are humans. They're just a different type of human. They're humans that they're basically Homo heidelbergensis was an ancestor that traveled out of Africa into, I think, the southeastern, South Central Asian area, and also there's another hominin species called Homo denisovan. Homo denisovan as well. Their also ancestor is Homo heidelbergensis. Those two species, when they got into South Central Asia, they split off. One stayed, I think, what we know today as Saudi Arabia, and one went off further into like Turkey or something like that. And what happens is that later on, Homo heidelbergensis in Africa stays on, gives birth to Homo rhodensis. Homo rhodensis stays on and gives birth to Homo sapien idaltu, and Homo sapien idaltu stays on and gives birth to Homo sapien sapien, which we know today what Homo means man. So sapien means wise man. That's all it is. And then what happens is that the Homo sapien travel into Asia. They meet up with the Homo neanderthals and the Homo denisovans, and they actually end up mating with them. So what happens is that a lot of people that ask, okay, they say the Europeans are what's it called, Neanderthals and whatnot. But what happens is what's actually happened is that the Neanderthals, the Homo sapiens are the Homo. Let me put my words properly. Basically, the Homo sapiens that mated with the Neanderthals, they ended up becoming what we know as the Asians and the Europeans today. Or if you take the continent of Asia and Europe to be one continent, you say Eurasians today. So yeah, that's basically the overall understanding. But what happens is, okay, yeah, that's basically the overall understanding. Any more like question? I think I've gone too much into it maybe, but yeah, that's the basic understanding of what's going on basically.
Jeez, man, them just broke down the whole thing. Yeah, you went from the whole subspecies to the species to the genus, went back 2.5 million years ago, even further than that. Jeez. All right. I had them big boy words there, them osteopalacatithithithithim. Let me just ask man like Asni for that one. I have to ask man like Asni because that was some words there that I can't even enunciate. Yeah, family tree was good. Oh man, love you guys, love you guys. All right, so this is what I'm wondering right now. Yeah, can we get a little mix up? Can we get a mix up? So you already know me. Yeah, I love this whole evolution stuff, right? I love the whole scientific approach and academic approach and looking at the world. You already know that's science, that's Kemet 101 right there. But I want to go from the mythology. See, I'm even mixing up my own words now. I want to go to the mythology. Okay, I want to go to the mythological outlook. And you're not gonna think I'm trying to take the mic. No, I'm saying that let's go to the religious outlook. Let's go to the story. Mythos literally means the story. So let's go there. Let's see what my Christians actually have to say. So if I can get man like and I know you're under here as Sam H now, but Megatron, if you're in the building still, like, hit the link, join us. come in. We want to hear it from a Christian perspective, or anybody else, who's part of the religious community. Definitely want to hear from the Judeo-Christian paradigm as to how human beings were created or made or evolved or was caused to come into being. So if I can get you guys to come in and drop that science or drop it, let me know. All right. Again, family, the link is literally down below. I'm just here waffling on until somebody in the comment section literally hits the link. But for now, I'm gonna jump to my brother Kelly. My
Hey,
brother, talk to me.
hey, can you hear me? Can
Yeah,
you
I
hear
can hear
me?
you, King.
All right. Okay, just let me start. Adam and Eve, were they real people? Well, too many people. The Genesis account of Adam and Eve is merely a colorful story. Mainstream Christians have long considered Genesis stories, such as Adam and Eve, to be allegories, states a letter of the editor of Time. Many Catholic, Protestant, and Jewish scholars agree. They claim that much of Genesis simply does not agree with history or science. What do you think? Do you believe that Adam and Eve were real people? Is there any evidence to indicate that they really lived? On the other hand, what are the implications of dismissing the Genesis account as mere myth? The Genesis account, scientifically credible? First, let's review the key elements in the account of the creation of the first man. Regarding Adam, the Bible says, Jehovah God proceeded to form the man out of the dust from the ground to blow into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man came to be a living soul. Is the statement scientifically credible? The book Nanomedicine states that the human body is made of 41 chemical elements. The basic elements, carbon, iron, oxygen, and others, are all present in the dust of the earth. Thus, as Genesis states, humans truly are formed out of the dust from the ground. So, how did those lifeless building blocks came together to form a living human? To illustrate the enormity of the challenge, consider the NASA Space Shuttle, one of the most complex machines ever devised. This technology marvel contains a staggering 2.5 million parts. It took teams of engineers years ago to design and put it together. Now consider the human body. It is made up of some 7 octillion atoms, 100 trillion cells, dozens of organs, and at least 9 major organ systems. How did this biological machine of mind-boggling complexity and superb structure come to be? By blind chance or by intelligent design? Moreover, what makes humans live? Where does the spark of life come from? Scientists confess they do not know. In fact, they cannot even agree on an acceptable definition of life. To those who accept the idea of a creator, the conclusion is obvious. The source, of course, is God. I think I just close it for now. Somebody who likes to jump in. This is like some information I'd like to share. All right.
All right. Love that. Love that. So yeah, man, I'm still waiting for my religious community to jump in and drop some information for us, okay? Because I need that. I want to be fair. I want to make sure that everybody from all the vast different communities are actually represented on this fundamental question. All right, where did human beings come from? All right, I don't know about you, but this is one of those questions that we should actually have at the forefront of our mind. I think we should. I think we should. Like we can see ourselves like, if you see like an empty room and you saw an object in the room, like you always think to yourself like, right, where did that come from? Where did that come from? Nah, 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 nah. One better than that. Who remembers Saw? Remember the first Saw film? That was hard body. That Saw film was mad. It was a mad thing still, right? All you saw, yeah, was these people. They just woke up in the middle of in a room, and they just saw a supposed dead body in the middle of the room. Like, fam, why am I here? How did I get here? What is in here? Is that a dead body? Like, you know them questions that you gotta ask yourself. Come on, G. Come on, G. How did I make it into this room, B? How did I make it into this world? So that's the question I want to ask you guys, right? This should be on our mind. All right. I hope it should be on our minds. I think it should be on our minds. What do you think? So I'm inviting you guys in here to come on and talk to me, family. Come on and talk to me. So far, nobody's taking a bait and hitting the button. So if you're not joining the link, joining by hitting the link, could I get you guys to at least hit the like button and say you're enjoying, you're enjoying what you're seeing so far, at least. Let us know that you enjoy Titans TV. If you don't, leave us a message as to what can we do to improve the show. All right, or what are we doing wrong? God damn. So, and also, I actually wanted to hear about the alien perspective. I want to hear the Anunnaki perspective, or if there is any other alien creation stories as well. I'd love to get you guys in. That would be magnificent. That would absolutely be magnificent. But right now, we've got look at that, 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 Mr. Dark Chocolate. Look, sexual chocolate, no homo. Sexual chocolate. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him right there. Look at him. Like he's on the sport. Hey, yo, let me get my like Sarah in the building. Come on, G.
Peace, family. Peace, man.
Sexual chocolate.
No, I was just listening in. I was just listening in. And you did it. Kalam did it, man. Obviously. You're the one that brought everything into being, bro. You didn't know this. But all jokes aside, you know me and energy already. And so there's a few unanswered questions, but a lot of answered questions. When it comes to how did we get here, literally the ins and outs of it, we got to do a bit of investigation work. And the investigation work has been done in regards to evolution. Does it have all the answers? I don't think so. Does it have logical, good answers? I'd say so. It's definitely more believable than the mythos, let's say. So I don't necessarily 100% bank on evolution, but I do understand that the search to kind of find how we came to be here will not be within, a talking snake and some people in a garden, let's say. I've ruled that one out for myself. So I'm about the investigation route.
Jeez. I love that. Absolutely love that. But at the same time, I want to mix it up, family. So far, the theory of evolution is winning out at present, okay? Or rejection, okay? Seems like everybody is becoming agnostic atheists in these days and times. What I mean by that is people are saying, hold on, I'm willing to accept, whatever you're gonna offer me. All right. But first, let's investigate that. And then so far, you lot ain't proven that whole, talking snake, earth, mixing water and all that. No. That's not winning out in my mind. I can't accept it. And now we're going down the scientific route. And it seems as though the science has the answers. Let me know, does science have all the answers? Actually, before I ask that question, let me make sure I get everybody to represent themselves. So Raskin, please come on and let me know, how do you think human beings came to be? Then afterwards, I want to get SC James to come on as well. So go on, Raskin, go ahead, King.
All right. Probably I'd go more down the evolution route. There's a book that I read recently. It's about human evolution. What's it called again? But I know the name for you. I think it's A Brief History of Humankind. Hold on, I've got the book here. That's it. Sapiens. There's like about how a lot of our behaviors obviously mimic apes and stuff like that. How how we socialize, how we behave. But going on to the Anunnaki thing, the Sumerians, obviously, they had lots of clay tablets, and they wrote in like a lot of detail how man came to be, and basically what they believe, which they writ in the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is about 3,800 BC, 4,000 BC. There was two gods, Enlil and Enki, and they used to walk the earth, and they were very large beings, human-like, but very large. So I think in the Bible, they're kind of referred to as the Anunnaki, these kind of giant beings that walk the earth. And what they say is that they were plowing the earth for various minerals and using it for their own uses. Then they started to despise laboring so much. So they created humans to do the labor for them. So their justification for this as well was that the human body is kind of made for labor. Like, we're quite able and we're quite agile and flexible to do these kind of hard, laborious jobs. And they made us infertile in the beginning. And then Enki was on the human side and saw the light within humans and liked us and said, right, well, I'm going to give them the permission to reproduce behind Enlil's back. So Enki's on our side, and Enlil's kind of the adversary that was against it and didn't want us to reproduce and kind of take over the earth. And they say in the tablets that they were made from soil and clay within Eden. And Eden in Sumerian means a flat terrain. So if you look where the Sumerians were, it was modern day Iraq, spread to some parts of Saudi Arabia. And if I believe, there is a place which some historians refer to that this is where Eden would be. It's a very flat land, it's very green, it's very fertile. After that, there was some disputes between Enlil and Enki. They've stayed, some of them have stayed, some of them have left, and basically man has reproduced from this Eden place, this Garden of Eden, somewhere in Mesopotamia, and now we've spread across the globe that way. That's their story. So I'm just putting out there what their theory is, what their myths say, which is a very old myth. And also many Bible stories and Egyptian mythology also use many stories that are in the Sumerian text, such as the flood myth, which was actually first written many, many years ago, way before Judaism and Christianity and all that kind of stuff. So that was my point on that.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Boy, for those of you guys who don't know how human beings actually came into existence, let me tell you how. So back in the day, yeah, like you say, I was on the spaceship called Nibiru, and I was flying around. You lot may know about Nibiru. We call it Planet. Well, you lot may call it, as humans, you lot call it Planet X, right? Planet X. Yeah, you know about Planet X. So now we was just, flying around in the galaxy. We landed up on Earth, and we saw, there's actually minerals here. Let's actually do a good job. In this land, there is gold. Good gold. We saw the good gold, and we said, you know what? It's kind of heartbreaking labor. How can we do this? So you know what we decided to do? We got the Homo sapiens. It wasn't just normal individuals. We got the Homo sapiens, but they didn't quite have the intelligence to do the work that was needed. They only could do basic work. So we said, how do we upgrade these humans? This is what we'll do. We'll mix our own genealogy with the genealogy of humans, and we created the Homo sapiens sapiens. But because the Homo sapiens sapiens started to look like us as gods, no, we must wear masks. And then from that moment on, us as gods, we started wearing masks while the human beings carried on doing what they were doing. I love that story, one of the best stories in the world ever told. Zachariah Stitchin, got that from my little Malachi Z. York books as well. I miss those good old days, them good conspiracy stories, them good ancient mixed with new age stories. But I want to know, what other stories can we tell? Let me know, family tree, let me know.
Kalam,
Go ahead.
You'd run into a question which would say, who created those aliens?
God damn. Yeah, but it was a and there was another universe that was in existence that had even ancient, older beings that were known as the guardians of the seventh universe. And they then traveled into not the eighth universe, but into the ninth universe and started to develop, their own,
And who created those aliens?
generation. What, the seventh? The
Oh,
seventh?
Who
Oh man.
created the seventh
Then you have to go. You'll have to go back to the first, and when you go back to the first, you find out that there was a being called the Omni God. Some of you guys might know about the Omni God via Dragon Ball Z. It's the Omni God that actually created and constructed all things. But I'm not going to tell you any further. You have to first, give
Give you some
me
money. You gotta give you some money first, yeah?
some money. Yeah, some money before I can tell you the story. So, all right. I love you. I'm a sick man. All right.
Can I jump
So
in?
real quickly,
Sorry.
where's no, Raskin, hold on, one second. Let me just get SC James into the building. Let me hear your perspective. Let me hear your
Hi,
perspective.
can you hear me?
Yep,
Hello?
yep.
Hi. Yeah,
Yep,
I'm
go ahead,
just
SC.
so I'm kind of with the side that thinks that life came about through kind of evolution as a result of the laws of the physical universe, but I'm undecided as to whether a god specifically created those laws in order to bring about life or not. But I was just something that occurred to me is that quite often those advocating that kind of we must have been created sort of via an intelligent design, kind of like a Adam and Eve or that sort of story, they'll often kind of invoke some amount of sort of scientific information in order to back this up. So they'll be like, I know, like, yeah, how could we have so much DNA, we have so many genes, and how could this have come about? You have so many organs. Look how complex the organs are. So, like, in doing that, they're kind of using science as their like sort of as evidence for their point of view. But if you're going to sort of use science in that way, then I feel like you kind of owe it to yourself to also look at kind of biology and biochemistry, and if you do, then you'll kind of find out that like these scientists have actually thought quite a lot about these how evolution could kind of come up with these structures. And so it feels like kind of quite a selective reading of the information if you only look at kind of complexity and like the scientific kind of information about that, but don't look at the scientific information about kind of evolution and the different kind of simulations that have been done, and these other kind of comparative studies that like look into, I know, for example, like simulations on how the eye could develop or other kind of organ systems. So that was just my thoughts on what's been discussed.
All right, give thanks, give thanks. Yo, somebody dropped in the comment section earlier on. Again, family, if you want to get in touch with me, just type Titans TV, and I can actually, see highlights, basically your comments or your questions. Okay. So shouts out, of course, to Megatron. Shouts out, of course, to my brother COE in the building. Yeah, give thanks, give Spence. Cheers. But somebody said earlier on that for those of you guys who don't know about science, okay, and they think I don't know, science answers all the questions. No, science doesn't answer all the questions. The reason being is because magic first created science. So without magic, you would never understand science. And with science, you can never understand magic because it's a paradox realm. You can only understand magic if you're in the realms of magic, but magic was the reason why science actually exists in the first place. Just to put it out there with those of you guys who don't know. Let me continue though. Let me actually continue. So, Brother Raskin, I know you wanted to jump back in and jump on to Sarah or myself. So let's get it, family tree. What's good?
Yeah, no, he was just saying if aliens created us, then who created the aliens? But what I wanted just to think about for a second was, let's just say that every living thing has a soul. The question should be, where are the souls originating from? Because our body, it's just like clothing, or it's just an outfit of the soul. So we should actually be questioning, where is that soul coming from? So if there's a one source, and these living beings, whether it be aliens or animals or us, are just manifestations of the source and the souls that is creating and giving out, and then what you see on the exterior in the material world is just the clothing in which it decides to choose or to represent itself.
I went into the esoteric teachings there. All right, but before we go into the soul and things of that nature, I would love to just get the human beings. How do we come into being? So I'm gonna get my brother Megatron on in the building. But first, before we do that, can I first go to a commercial break and say, Family Tree, if you're loving Titans TV and you want to see more, please hit the like button. Right now we have over 150 people tuned in now, live, and only 50 of you guys are hitting the like button. So please show us some respect, show us some love, and hit the like button and let us know that you're enjoying Titans TV. Yeah. All right. So yeah, this is how I'm so relaxed. I'm just acting a fool. This is just me on a normal day. I apologize if it's coming across mad strange and weird, innit? Allow me. But yeah, Family Tree. Let me get Megatron in the building. Come on, Megatron.
Hello, peace, everyone. How's everyone doing? I just want to say, what would you rather believe in, evolution or science or religion? That's sort of a false dichotomy. A lot of Christians have no problem with the theory of evolution, except for a few evangelical nuts in America. Most Christians are on board with evolution, and if I'd had some more time, I could have presented a better, more information. But I think the reason why some Christians don't like evolution is because of the fact that the Darwinians say that evolution is an unguided process. There's no need for God. However, there's this theory called process structuralism, and it's a mechanism which some scientists say is the driving force of evolution. And it's and let me quote you what Charles Darwin said. He says, "As natural selection works solely by and for the real good of each being, all corporal and mental endowments will tend to progress towards perfection." So process structuralism describes that there are universal laws, which is the driving force, and so life was inevitable. It's not a random accident, but rather life was there because it was meant to be there. So there is this overriding purpose for the existence of life through the evolutionary mechanisms. And like I said, if I knew that the show was on, I would have been able to do a lot more research. However, Inspiring Philosophy, the YouTube channel Inspiring Philosophy, has made a 40-minute video on this. It's called "Was Life Inevitable?" I would advise everyone to watch it, and it manages to reconcile evolution with biblical Christianity, and how evolution actually supports the concept that life was a guided process, not this unguided accident. Thank you.
Megatron, I'm not trying to take a piss or anything like that, but this, what you just said about this idea of evolution being random, that's something people with no knowledge of the subject say. Evolution is not random.
I agree with you 100%.
No, I'm saying without a God, it's not random. No one who actually understands evolution would ever call it random. It's not. That's not even what the theory of evolution teaches. No response?
The mutations are thought to be random in, normal biological theory.
Well, yes, like the mutations are random, but evolution itself is not random.
Okay, it just depends what you mean then. The outcomes kind of, it depends what the selection pressures are.
Well, yeah, but if you talk about, if you use polar bears for an example, like the brown bear, the grizzly bear, is the common ancestor of the polar bear, right? It was a random mutation that lost the bear its color, right? But that random mutation was evolutionary selected because that random mutation was more beneficial to evolution because it matched the landscape.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, mutation is random. Evolution is not.
Yeah.
You know, Kalam, have you ever heard of someone called Aaron Ra?
I think Kalam's gone.
Oh yeah. No, I'm just I don't know. Is anyone here familiar with Aaron Ra?
Yeah. I watched his debate with Subur Ahmed very
Yeah.
recently.
It's just like, I mean, if anyone ever wants, oh, Kalam's back. Kalam, you know, if you ever want to do a really in-depth show on evolution and genetics, you really need to get in touch with this bloke called Aaron Ra and just like ask him to come on the show. He's an expert in evolution and biology.
And also get in touch with inspiring philosophy to debate Aaron Ra on this issue. That would be an epic show, man.
Jeez, it would be. Do you know what, family? Yeah, my connection is so terrible. I don't know what's going on. I want to blame Virgin, but at the same time, I don't believe it's Virgin's fault right now. It's actually Google's fault, and it's not allowing me to log back in on my laptop to the Hangouts. So I'm fearing that the show may abruptly come to an end. All right. So whilst we're still here live, please, you lot just, talk and get it in. But I'm fearing that it will cut out within the next 2-3 minutes because it's not logging back in via my laptop. So continue, please.
Just before I came into the Hangouts, I was listening on the main YouTube channel. I think someone was talking about this idea of the complexity of cells and how evolution can't tell where life come from. Like, this is yet another misunderstanding. Like, evolution is not where did life come from. We don't know for sure where it came from. What evolution is how life evolved. It's not the origin of life. Like, evolution is, okay, once there was life, what happened? It's not how did life start. And one of the interesting things I've had is that someone was on about earlier about aliens and that. The Mars rover has apparently actually found some evidence of the building blocks of life. It's a very, like, there are some theories that life actually was seeded on this planet by microbes from other planets. I mean, like, it's common knowledge that planets sort of cross each other, like meteorites, comets, things like that. Like, that is usually one planet meeting another planet, So, I mean, who knows if the early organisms even originate from Earth? I mean, we could actually, like, if we did find something on Mars which indicated there was once life, I mean, we could do a genetic test and find out we're related. We don't know.
Actually, hold on. I think I've got the connection back. Okay, so we might be in luck. The show may just continue for some more time. But again, we have over 150 people tuned in here. The last time I said give it the like button, only 10 people hit the like button. I might just shut the show down soon though, because I ain't got time for people not showing the love back. We're not even asking for no money, We're not asking for no money. But no. Let me do this. Let me do one of these ones here, just so I can take the mick of people's lives right now. Sorry about this. Okay, this is just another commercial from myself. Give me a hot second. Bear with me, family. Okay, bear with me. It's only because you are not respecting the thing, because I personally want to cut down the show. But I'm gonna just do this. Who saw the last show earlier on? Okay. Yep.
I actually did see your show earlier tonight. I'm saying, mate, you don't even have to convert to Islam to get that money. I mean, I'm assuming you've heard of Keith Moore.
I think so. Go ahead.
You don't know Keith Moore? Oh my God! Like, this is right. So this is this really amazing thing, right? So back in the 80s, there was this conference of like non-Muslim Western scientists at University of, I think it was University of Cairo, right? And there was this massive propaganda thing about how all these Western non-Muslim scientists are saying, you know, like, oh, the Quran says this, Muhammad said that, it must have been a miracle, and it was copied and edited, and it was just used as propaganda for 20 years, right? It was absolutely amazing. There's actually this bloke is a YouTuber, from Birmingham. It's called Rationalizer, right? He actually got in touch with the scientists from that film and just said it flat out. Did you actually say any of this, or is it bollocks? It's like, it's all bollocks. You never converted to Islam, never converted. But like the quote unquote scientists' credence, it comes from a bloke called Keith Moore. He's in his 80s now. And he made this fortune basically telling Muslims what they wanted to hear. He was like, yeah, I'm a non-Muslim, I'm European, I'm American, and he just talked shit. He wrote this entire book on how Islam was a miracle, got a massive bank account, and interestingly enough, every time Muslims try and throw him at me, I always say, so how come he never converted? And how come he only ever wrote a second book when his bank account was low? Like, he actually believes Islam's real. He believes if he's not a Muslim, he's going to die and go to hell, and he's not converting. He believes Islam actually is a miracle, and he's not saying the Shahada. Give me a break. It's amazing to me how people cannot see bullshit.
It's true, it's true. But hold on 1 second, real quickly. I just want to do this, yeah. So again, let me just quickly. No, where are we? We're here. Oh man, Ali Dowie, look, last chance to donate. I was making fun of it the other night. Oh, this earlier on, talking about the last, we're Laylat El Qadr, the last 10 nights of Ramadan. But true say you gotta donate on the odd night. It was possibly the odd night, which was Laylat El Qadr. But look, let's just see last push right now. Yeah, the last chance to donate, and look at this. Look at this. Okay, just to put it out there, yeah. When you guys want to be chatting rubbish to me, yeah, just to put it out there, okay. I'm gonna be petty right now. I have to be petty. This is one of them petty shots that I'm doing to like people like Anna Rashid, yeah, and then petty shots, yeah, I'm doing to people like Ali Dawes, yeah, that talk about Islamophobe, and petty shots to people like Hamza that's talking about, yeah, Kalam is making money of Islam and whatever is there, yeah. Let me do them petty shots real quickly, yeah. Look at that, 21,000. Like, you have to do the emphasis. 21,000, yeah, 21,641 pounds, right? On this society, this campaign will collect all the funds by the 25th of July. But if you know when this started only 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, these men started this campaign. Yeah, 2 weeks just to put it out there. Look, what we need it for. Because some people are saying, "Oh, Callum, you're lying. You're lying. That's not how much money they made." All right, this is right here. Dawah movement member. I said 16,000. That's the last time I checked. Yeah, but look, it's 21,000. Yeah, real quickly. I'm gonna have to just drown into your heads because you don't want to be chatting rubbish about me. Full-time media team, for a full-time research team, for full-time dedication, for full-time teacher, mentor, for studio space with office, for professional film equipment. Rare. So we have a combined of 300,000 subscribers and 40 million people. So Ali Dawah has 250,000 and Mohammed Hijab has 50,000. So that's a combined total of 300,000. Okay, we are facing the Islamophobia industry, which is being pumped $200 million per year to attack the Kalam of Allah. No, see how they didn't want to spell Kalam correctly, They didn't want to spell it correctly. How can anybody attack the pen? How can you attack the pen of Allah, you retard? What you're supposed to say here was Kalam, okay, not the Kalam of Allah. It's the Kalam of Allah, the word of Allah. But you know that you didn't want to put the K there, yeah, because you know they're gonna be like, hold on, the Kalam of Allah, Who's been attacking Kalam of Allah? It's you Muslims that's been attacking me, innit? No, I'm just joking. No, I'm not joking, but I'm being serious. But anyways, yeah, this is what these men are making, yeah? And then you don't want to come to poor little me, yeah? Hold on, I just want to do this because I have to. Because you lot just upsetting my soul with your nonsenses, yeah? Hold on. Let me just do this real quickly, yeah? Because you see me, yeah, I do receipts all day long. You do receipts all day long, yeah. And let me give a shout out here to everybody who has actually donated, yeah. Real quick shout outs. I've made £510, okay, or I've raised £510 here in 2 years, and you want to tell me that I'm an Islamophobia that's making money off Islam, yeah? Fam, I don't pimp Islam like the way you lot pimp Islam, you know. Try to draw on Muslims, what's it called? What's it called? Heartstrings. So shout out to Ultimate Utopia for donating, Shuya Priya Davdar for donating, Saleh Arslan for donating, and all the other people that have donated. Shouts out to you guys. Ooh wee. Oh wait. Yeah. All right. Shouts out to you guys real quickly. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. All right. And we're actually hoping to go to the US as well. So there is actually something else that Terry and them men have actually set up. There you go. GoFundMe USA link up. All right, them men have created something like this just to do this. If you guys actually want to donate money, so them men have actually created a donation link to help the cost for us going over to receiving a Sun at TV Awards. So if you want to go and actually donate to something that's going to actually better, UK media companies. So Black Ice TV is looking to go out there. Terry's looking to go out there. Myself is looking to go out there. Gabs and Sarah is looking to go out there, and so forth. Yeah. If you want to actually help out, look, you can actually go and hit the donate button and help out Terry's donation page. But I'm just saying, yeah, if you lot really want to send shots at people, yeah, like allow us in it, because we don't need to lie and fabricate stuff, yeah. Like we're open, we're transparent, we're there every single week, yeah, like answering questions, yeah, and taking in the slander. But what we do, yeah, we provide receipts. Like we don't have nothing to hide, you know. We can show you our accounts here and show you guys, yeah, like what is actually coming in and coming out here in terms of donations and so forth. Where you guys, yeah, you're literally pimping Islam. It's Ramadan. Like all of a sudden, all you see is mad donations coming in. Like allow us in it. Like allow us. If you want to be throwing stones in glass house, yeah, allow it, because we'll pull out your receipts all day long. That's what I wanted to say. Sorry. I had to be petty. Innit? I wanted to be petty and I had to be petty because you lot are annoying my soul, yeah, talking about Islamophobe and making money off Islam. So yeah, let's get it back in though, family. Who's here with us? No, I need Afro Man Raf to come back in, yeah, and drop some science again, you know, G. Come on.
Where do you want me to continue?
Yo, Raf. All right, you know, that's a good question. You know, where do we want you to continue? The people were saying, yeah, they just wanted to hear your voice. They were saying, you know, goddamn, like I love what my man was talking about.
Okay.
All right, I love what you're talking about. Everything not double, everything not double. Go ahead, G.
Yeah, come on. So, maybe I'll pick off from the Homo Neanderthals and the Homo Denisovans and the so-called Homo sapiens. So what happens is people ask, how did the Europeans come about? And this is how I understand that the Europeans came about. So we have the Homo Neanderthals who are living in Central Asia with the Homo Denisovans. And the Homo sapiens leave about, the first Homo sapiens left, I think 50,000 years ago or so, I believe. Or maybe even long, further back than that, 200 years ago. And they encountered, this is our black people now leaving and coming into what you call Asia, or what's it called, Central Asia. And they come in contact with the Homo Neanderthals and the Homo Denisovans. And what happens is that they actually, instead of like attacking each other, they ended up mating with each other. And I don't know, some scientists say that, well, some evolutionary biologists on human evolution say that the Homo Neanderthals were already dying out because they were having a lot of interbreeding and diseases was killing them off. And the Homo sapiens coming in will actually save them in the sense that some of their DNA survived to today. So what happens is that a lot of people don't understand, there's things called subspecies. So the Homo sapiens and the Homo denisova and the Homo neanderthals, they actually they're not this, they're part of the hominin family, but they're not the same species per se. So if you look at like an example.
Sorry, just to interrupt, how do you define species?
Okay, a species would be, to my understanding, would be a different and when two not similar but not the same groups mate to each other. So like a lion and a tiger, basically, they're species of I'd say subspecies. Really, species would be just two different animals, basically. Like
so you take the species view that species are distinct when they can't breed with each other.
Yes, in some sense, yes, I would say that, yeah.
Because obviously one of the things in when talking about this is that there's not actually a clear distinction on what species is.
Okay.
And I think the interesting thing when you were talking about Homo neanderthal,
yeah,
one of the differences, and you know, I got to tell you this, just about a couple of weeks ago, because I'm actually native European, and I was actually looking at this reconstruction of a Homo neanderthal. I'm like, mate, I need to get a DNA test. I must have Neanderthal. He looks like me naked.
yeah.
But yeah, I think one of the things that I think there's a few things to take into account. Like, first of all, is if you actually look at the weapons of Homo neanderthals, then you can actually find that most of their weapons actually looked very good for hunting large game. And when you were talking about the isolated pockets, yeah, there was a lot of genetic disease that happened because they were in very much small groups. And I suppose an analogy is like, you imagine people on different islands. You know, it's kind of easier to just stay on your own island rather than make the trip to island after island after island. But there's also the fact that Neanderthals might not have been as adaptable as Homo sapiens sapien. And whereas our ancestors came from the savannah, which was very flat. Europe at that time was massively dense forest. And there was I think it was during the climate change about, I can't remember exactly how long ago, but there was a massive shift in Europe, which we see today, you know, like with all the open plains and valleys, where a lot of the forests were wiped out, and we were just better at adapting than they were. And there's also the fact that when it comes to interbreeding, I think there's also a violence thing, because like one of the interesting things about Neanderthals is their adrenal gland is smaller than ours. And like part of the evolution that we're going through right now is like our current evolution, our brains are getting small or getting larger, but our adrenal glands are shrinking, right? So just for the simple fact that the adrenal gland of the Homo sapiens sapien was larger than the Neanderthal, we were more able to sustain anger and adrenaline. I mean, it's quite possible, but one of the things that wiped them out is we could just get more pissed off for longer. Mate, you muted.
Yeah, sorry, I muted you earlier on, my brother. Just unmute yourself and get back into the flow. But real quickly, hey, yo, Raven, I've been missing you, you know. It's been how long? How long has it been since you last appeared on Titan TV? Come on.
You know, this is only my third time logging in, but I'm glad that I made a good first impression, because the second time, God, I was pissed out my skull. It was like 3 bottles of wine and a bottle and a half of whiskey.
Too much. Too much.
I do have a quick question. I do have a quick question for Afro Man. What do you think about the Asian origins? Because ironically enough, the last time I was on, I was talking to the brother Gabs, and I was saying to Gabs that I'm not completely with the idea of human evolution being in Africa. I think there's also a very good idea about crossing with Asia. And like just for the audience, I want to be very clear what I'm talking about. When I'm talking human, I am not talking just Homo sapien. I'm talking the species, right? Like there's absolutely nothing whatsoever in the archaeological record that would make me doubt that we came to be in Africa. It's very obvious that Cro-Magnon, Homo erectus, like our early ancestors, were in Africa. and that we, as a particular race or subspecies of humanity, our particular branch, evolved in Africa. But where did those ancestors come from? I mean, you were talking about Denisovians earlier. Like this, the thing that I mentioned is it's all, if you take Homo neanderthal, because like the thing that like Homo erectus is the common ancestor of Homo sapiens sapien, Homo neanderthal, and Denisovian. And Denisovian isn't actually within the genus of Homo. They're actually among the genus of archaic human. So it's a slightly different genre. I mean, some people argue they're a separate species. But the interesting thing about them is if you look at a lot of different types of human, you can see this very close correlation between like the middle of Africa, the north of Africa, and the Middle East. And a lot of these different types of human, you can actually find them scattered all throughout Asia. I mean, it's almost like if we did come from Africa, it's almost like all these different types of human went north and then turned right, and Neanderthal for some reason turned left into Europe. I mean, like Denisovian, which you were talking about earlier, I don't think they've ever been found outside of Siberia. And it's also true that Neanderthal, which is a species of human which evolved to be native of Europe, like I mean, for the longest time, no one actually knew where they came from. But what the fossil record is showing is if you actually find Neanderthal remains, we've actually sort of been able to backtrack them down the south of Europe, along the Mediterranean coast, and it's either going into Asia or it's going into Africa. But then, of course, you have the closely related cousin, which is like Homo habitus, which is in the Pacific. So Asia, you got Denisovian, Siberia, again, Asia. You got a multitude of others. And then you think of course, our closest relatives, the great apes. I mean, yeah, you got like gorillas and chimpanzees. Yeah, but you got like gorillas, you got chimpanzees, which are in Africa. And the chimpanzee, of course, is our closest living relative. But then, like, you know, when was the last time you saw an orangutan? Well, like when was the last time you saw an orangutan in Africa?
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like, you're dealing with now things like Pangea, and I think that goes more into Pangea, the fact that the continents were together. So I said about 8 million years ago, that's when we split from the common chimpanzees, and 8 million years ago, that it would have been a different type of, like, you know, the African continent would have been different. Do you understand? It would have been more, even when you go into mythologies and early mythologies, like especially to deal with like Kemet, I think Kalam probably knows this better, but they considered some parts of the Middle East to be African. Do you understand? African continents.
Yeah, I think you went up to Siberia and Libya. You had like the Kemet empires.
Not even. I'm talking about Libya and Siberia. Libya isn't in Africa.
Libya and Syria. I know that Libya in Africa.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia.
Syria in the Middle East. I think also ancient Mesopotamia was.
Iraq, so I heard, to an extent, was considered part to be African. So
I've also heard there was a cultural connection, which makes a lot of anthropologists think that you actually did have people from what you would call Kemet. I think they've been found as far as Iraq.
Yeah, they did have a connection. I'm not so much into that type of understanding. I'm more or less dealing with the genetic side of it and what some people have said about the so-called origins of the humans and what we know them today. I think you said earlier something about the archaic humans and whatnot, and you said they're different from Homo. They're all humans. That's the problem. Like,
well, they're human, but Homo is a type of human.
Homo, the way that we describe ourselves as well, we are Homo sapiens sapien. They're called Homo Neanderthals. Are actually, when you go search it up, and people can check this in the chat on Wikipedia, just for like a generally like understanding. I mean, you can go and look at other research papers. They're actually called Homo neanderthals. So I think it's Homo neanderthalis, yeah, something like that. So that's what they're actually called. And the same thing with the common ancestor between Homo neanderthalis, Homo denisovan, and Homo sapiens is what we call Homo heidelbergensis. And that was the ancestor that successfully left Africa and was able to survive in Europe and later became Homo neanderthalis and Homo denisovans. The ones that stayed in Africa became Homo sapiens.
I think the interesting thing about that is you've actually found the remains of Homo erectus in both Africa and Asia.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things that has to be pointed out about Homo erectus is that they weren't just here for the blink of an eye. They were like a million years that they were around and going about. I mean, like Neanderthal is no disagreement with you at all. Like Neanderthal is a genius of Homo, Homo Neanderthal. But I wasn't talking about Neanderthal, but like Denisovania is not necessarily classed as Homo. It's classed as a species of archaic human.
They're all the same thing. They're all Homo. They're all the same thing. Like you can go check it up. It will come up with the same thing as Homo Denisovian or whatever they call it. They're all Homo. Even what's it called? Neanderthals are considered archaic humans as well. They're all archaic humans. It's just the fact that they belong to a subgroup of humans.
I didn't know that Neanderthals would be considered archaic. I'm going to do what you said. I'm going to look that up now, actually.
You can check it up now, innit? Like, it's like,
you guys think modern Northern Europeans could be considered as seeming as that we might have mixed with, well, we did mix with Neanderthals, but we could be considered then as something, a different species or a subcategory of Homo sapien species.
I just looked it up, and the first thing that's coming up, the evolutionary dividing lines that separate modern humans from archaic Homo sapiens and archaic humans from Homo erectus. So it does seem that there is a distinction.
They make that distinction to say that what we call humans today, our line comes from that common ancestor, but they're all humans. They're all like, everyone's gonna play this semantic. It's like saying that we're not apes. We are apes. We're just hairless apes. That's all we are. That's how evolution understands it, or whatever, how evolution biologists understand it. We play these semantic games, but that's what they're trying to say to us, that these are early forms of what we know today to be Homo sapiens sapien. Archaic humans is another way of saying Homo sapiens sapien, but well, it's based on the skull size. When you look at the early archaic humans, their skull at the back, they had like they had like a more what's called rounded part at the back, whereas today you can see that our skulls got shorter and our front lobe is more what's it called, forward. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's how they describe the archaic humans.
Well, I mean, to the best of my understanding, if you think of the number of varieties of Homo, they're grouped into the broad categorization of archaic humans. But the period predating the emergence of the earliest atomically modern humans.
Yes, that's us. We're talking the same thing. What we're saying is that, what I'm trying to say is that when eventually the Homo sapien from Africa mated with the Homo Neanderthals and the Homo denisovan, that's where it cuts off now and becomes anatomical humans, and they progress to what we see today as modern anatomical human beings. Do you understand what I'm saying?
All right. Hold on 1 second.
I understand. It's just I ain't looked this up in a while. I'm wishing two things. Number one, I'm wishing I'd looked it up more. Number two, I'm seriously wishing Aaron Ra was on this show. I would have just been like, I would have been doing nothing but asking him questions.
Hey, you know what I mean? We can all check this off anyway. That's the understanding. They're all homo groups. It just one is what's it called? It's showing that our early ancestors, what we call the humans today, progresses from about 50, maybe 200, some stretch it back to 200,000 years ago, and that is the time when you can see what's it called, humans, hominin groups going into what's it called? It's a bit messy because some people say that those specific type of humans that we're talking about, that they find in like the other day they've discovered 130,000-year-old human in Asia, and Israel. And what they were trying to say was that that human wasn't actually what we know today as Homo sapiens sapien. It was a Homo neanderthal or Homo denisovan or even a Homo heidelbergensis or a Homo erectus. It could
Yeah,
have been.
and obviously there was in Ethiopia they found the remains of Homo sapien. Was it Homo sapien idalitu? I think it was.
Yes, yeah,
Which was dated to around I think it was 160,000 years ago.
yeah. They're the um they're the group before what we know today as Homo sapiens sapien within Africa. Do you understand? So in Africa, we had from Homo heidelbergensis, we had Homo what's it called, rhodensis, Homo sapien idaltu, then Homo sapiens sapien.
Mm. I'm not sorry. We just said they were the ones before us. I'm fairly certain that that Homo sapien idalitu wasn't actually before us. I mean, they were around at the same time. I think they were
Yeah,
actually our.
yeah.
I don't think they were our ancestors. I think they were our cousins.
Uh, it gets a bit like they did exist at one point at the same time. I think it was the fact that those Homo sapiens sapiens were more successful because they were just greater thinkers and greater, what's it called, being better thinkers made them, what's it called, be able to thrive. That's the thing.
And obviously, one of the things, the huge advances in the intelligence of Homo sapiens sapien is something that is still something of a mystery. You know, a lot of people think it had to do with going from a plant-based diet to a meat-based diet, but it's a very fascinating thing.
I wouldn't say, because the thing is with intelligence is subjective. It's just, I think it's just the fact that the way they describe it is just being better at adapting. You understand? Some animals, some species, or some beings in general are not better adapted to survive in certain environments, or they can't survive. Like that's just how they are in it. They just can't. Like it always comes down to the individual anyway. But that's just these particular groups, Homo sapiens sapien, were able to survive, and they ended up surviving and going all the way to what's it called, Central Asia, and they come in contact with the Homo denisovans and the Homo neanderthals, mated with them, and then you have a line down for Europe where after mating with them, that they became what we know as Eurasians today.
I think there's also ideas of when we actually talk about intelligence. I mean, you know, like is intelligence something about progression, or is it just something that came about as an adaptability thing? And like one of the ways that we actually think about intelligence is tools and things like that. But obviously, not all species that do possess vast intelligence has tools. I mean, if you think of chimpanzees, right? Chimpanzees are like they're a lot like what we were.
Which type of
Chimpanzees actually use tools and things like that. But if you
which
think of
talking about, because there's two types of
Hi guys, can I say something?
But the thing I'll go into, just the overall point, was if you think of creatures like whales, for example, like whales are incredibly intelligent creatures, but they don't have hands, they don't have thumbs, so they do not have the ability to do tools like this. Whereas if you think of the octopus, like in the past few decades, people have been studying octopuses, and there's been a slight variation in certain brainstems. And what we're actually noticing is that octopuses are using their tentacles, and they're actually picking up things on the ocean floor to get what they want. They're figuring out how to use tools.
Guys, can I say something in between now, if that's okay?
Yeah, that's all, no problem, bro. Go ahead, brother.
So I've been listening, and it is really interesting hearing everyone's opinion, and I respect everyone's opinion. But the way I see it, and I want someone to try and prove me wrong, is that no one alive today, so however the oldest person is, no one alive today, or even our parents or grandparents, have any clue how the start of humans became. And we can have ideas of how skulls go back to us, how many thousands of years ago, but no one on this planet right now knows how humans were made. And the way I see it, the only answer to this is we do not know. Same thing with religion. I'm Jewish, I'm proud, but I do not know if my book is the real book. We do not know if it was all man-made. I always say if the world started again next week and they found the Harry Potter, books, that would be the religion. No one on this planet really knows anything what happened at the start of human life. If we did know, amazing. But I it's interesting to hear all these opinions, but for me, I just can't, understand.
Okay, you've just created a false dichotomy. I mean, you've just said you just compared it to being a Jew. Judaism is a religion. This is a fact-based thing. Evolution isn't a faith. It's not about believing. It's about what we can show. And what you just said about no one can show how humans started. I will actually be charitable. We don't know how life started. I'll be charitable enough to say we don't know how life started. But once we do have life, we know what happened. We know how humans started. We've just been talking about how humans started. And if the thing is, mate, I mean, it's stamped into your DNA. If you actually synthesize the human genome, people are doing that now. People are synthesizing the human genome. You don't even need fossil records anymore. I mean, fossils look good, but we don't even need them. The tree of life is inside us. People are exploring the human genome. We are stamped with our lowly origins. We are branded with it. I mean, what you just said, we don't know. Mate, it's bollocks.
No, but the thing is, like, you got to respect my opinion that I believe in.
No, I don't. I have to respect. I have to respect your right to have an opinion. I don't have to respect your opinion.
Okay, fine. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, I believe in a creator. I don't know what that creator is. I don't know who put life on this planet. I don't know who started, why dinosaurs, why humans, animals. I don't know that. None of us know that alive today. No one can say, I know what happened when the start of evolution started, or where the starting point was.
You can say that. See, again, it's a false dichotomy. Again, you're bringing your faith into it. You're trying to put it on the same shelf.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Hang about. This is on the shelf of things that we know. This is lightning and how cars work, and this is art. This is on this shelf. Your religion and belief is on this shelf over here, along with Zeus and Thor and the Kraken.
I'm not talking about religion. I'm saying no one knows the truth. If you're born into a Jewish family or a Muslim family or a Christian family, you're going to believe what you've been brought up. That is human life.
I don't believe in evolution.
No one knows how humans started, where the first human came from. No one knows. That is the answer.
Yes, we do. We know that we know that Homo sapiens sapien came from Africa. We know that for a fact.
All right, let me just up real quickly. Everybody keep your mics muted real quickly. I know we're getting nice and heated up. It's getting excited. It's getting, this is kind of what we like. Okay, we like this. But let me get, people who look at you. Look at you with your chest showing. Look at you, footballer. Look at you, star pupil. Stop it. You're gonna poke somebody's eye out, mate. Come on. All right, guys, let me get you in the building, my G. Come on, let's do this.
Yo, what's popping?
Yeah, buddy.
See, I could have been talking about extraterrestrials. I just bumped into this. I was like, well, what's going on there? Titans TV live, aliens versus God creation. I was like, why did I get no message?
Yeah. So I know this is the stuff that you love, my brother. Okay, so I'm gonna need you to, mix it up real quickly. And family, okay, I want you guys to, hit the share button. Okay, hit the share button, get people involved with this conversation. There should be like triple this amount that's viewing this right now. This is a hot topic and I'm loving it so far. So if you're loving it, hit the like button, also hit the share button and get people involved. All right. So Gabs, from your perspective, let me know, or give me from your perspective or the different theories out there, how humans came to be.
So
talk to me.
So how human beings come to be. I don't know. There's a lot of theories and stuff out there. It's kind of hard for me to side with one theory. There's no, of all the theories that I've looked at, You know, it's kind of hard to pinpoint which one is actually true. The whole thing to do with extraterrestrials and, you know, whether God created human beings, they're kind of similar when you think about it, because, you know, an extraterrestrial is seen as you know, an outside of Earth entity that, you know, came down and created human beings, or you know, made human beings on Earth. And it's the kind of the same like what you get throughout the Abrahamic religions. You know, you have a entity, God, angels, and beings that you would classify as like extraterrestrials. You know, you would see as extraterrestrials, you know, out of Earth, coming down, or not coming down, creating man and placing them on the Earth. So in a way, they're kind of similar. Do you see what I'm saying? It's still kind of similar, but when it comes down to the facts to know exactly who created us and what made us, bro, like I said, it's mysteries, man. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's a tough one.
But is that
You
even
know,
the right
so-
question now? Like you said, who made us, who created us? Is that even the right question? Where we made, where we created?
Where we created.
There we
Okay.
go.
Okay, guys. What Gabs has just said right now is the most perfect answer, because what he's saying is there is people that have the theory, but I don't know. This is what I'm getting at. Raven, you're more in line in I know you're wrong, I'm going to shut you down. But what I'm saying is, look, in my belief, in my religion, we started from Adam and Eve. I don't believe that. How can two people become 7 billion? We do not know. We do not have the answers, and no one has the answers, the real answer.
Yes, we do.
Okay, Raven, prove to me you know how the first human got on Earth.
What
And
we,
how
Okay. I'll tell you what we'll do, like, we'll meet up and I'll take you to the closest museum I can find.
Okay, listen, yeah.
Daniel, 1 second before we go into all of that, because I know it's gonna just go into some craziness in a hot second. I just want to do a quick commercial break yet again, and just quickly lighten up the mood and say, "Oh, yo, Gabs, are you still there?"
Yeah, bro, I'm here. I'm here.
Gabs,
Yeah.
like right about now, yeah, I'm trying to get my light bill paid for, yeah. So a couple of the women are saying if you just lower your camera phone a little bit, all right, they may just donate like £50. So if I can get you to come back on the camera and just lower just a tiny bit, come on,
Nah.
bro.
You know what? I gotta say, Gabs, I'll throw in the tenner.
Who's that? Who said that?
Hello.
He's a joker.
Man, like Ray.
He's a joker.
Hey, yo,
No,
everybody's
not like Raven. Raven like Gabs.
All right, Raven, prove to me. I want to know how the first human started.
Okay, we'll meet up.
Hold
We'll
on.
go to the closest museum.
Right now. Let me send a super chat myself.
Hi.
Sugar, can I send it? I'm even trying to send a super chat. Oh, I did my credit card numbers. So long.
Yo.
Professor, yeah, can I get you to mute your mic, G? I'll bring you in later on. All right.
No
so
problem.
let's get it.
Yeah.
Let's get it to descend into the madness. Yeah. Let's get it to descend into madness. So family, okay. Just letting everybody know, yeah, there's 3 rules over here on Titans TV. Rule number 1, yeah, is to keep your mics muted at all times. Rule number 2 is to respect our Titan cipher. Rule number 3 is to have some love and respect for your fellow panel members and also our audience members who are going to be tuned in and watching these programs. Okay, so please, no profanity or no ad hominems. All right, let's keep it family friendly. So what I would love to, ooh, man, like Devils. Hey yo, Devils, you've been hanging out in the background, keeping all quiet. I didn't even know it was you, my brother. Hey, salute, man. Come in real quickly and just tell the people love real quickly.
It's always love.
Just go on mute.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, my G.
It's always love. It's always love.
Jeez, my brother, I love you, man. All right. So Daniel, if I can get you to come back in again, just ask a question to Raven. Raven, respond, and then let's see where we'll go after that. All right. No interrupting anybody.
Okay, so like I said, Raven, look, I always respect other people's belief or view. The same reason why when someone's religious, for me, I might think, why are you spending your whole life on a belief that you don't know is true? You can say it's true, but it's just because that's what you've learned when you've been growing up. But when it comes down to human life and how human beings got on this planet, where was the first ever human being? There is zero proof. We know how humans evolved or how humans, fossils and all this stuff, but no one knows how or why there was a creator that put a human on this planet. Did we come from animals? Did we not? No one knows. And I want you to prove to me, because you seem like you genuinely know. And for me, you're just going on a belief system that you believe, and everyone believes something. But my answer is, I don't know. And I can't prove anything. So, yeah. Raven, tell me what's up.
I mean, first of all, we are animals. It's not that we come from them. Like there's a distinction between animals and plants. We're not plants. And this idea where humans come from, look, it's a false dichotomy. But what you're saying about, I believe this, I believe that. I mean, I've already been generous and said, okay, I do not know where life comes from. No one knows how life started. And I was kind of wondering if you're going to pick up on that. But when life did start, we have a very good idea. We can look at, again, I would actually recommend you look into the Human Genome Project. It has decoded it. I would recommend you look into just everything about biology. It shows how we're connected to others, where we divulge, where we didn't bulge, how you can go down into like the first billion years of life, how we went from single-celled organisms to complex life forms. I mean, you can actually do this. I mean, you know, one of the best evolutionary records that we have, which is whole and complete, is the horse. That's an easy one right there. Look at the evolution of the horse. I mean, I can show you. I can actually go. I mean, if you want, like after this, we can trade Skypes, and I will walk you through how human beings, us, Homo sapiens sapien, evolved from Homo erectus. I will walk you through it. Or you know what? I've been saying in his name over and over and over. Just watch The Foundational Falsehoods of Creationism by Aaron Ra. Seriously, like the information is out there. Do you actually know what the Human Genome Project is?
I do not.
Okay, look at the Human Genome Project. Have you ever actually read books written by biologists that explain in detail how it happened?
But the thing is,
have you actually done this?
No, but
Jesus Christ, you haven't even looked into it.
No, but I'm saying that.
And again, you keep on going on about belief and this and that. I do not believe in evolution. I'm going to say this because I want to make this clear. I know what a belief is. I used to believe in things myself. I do not believe in evolution. I simply accept reality. There is no one theory of evolution that I even believe in. People go on about Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection. I think it's very likely, but I don't even believe in that. But the thing is, every single theory of evolution could be proven wrong, right? But this is where we need to get into the distinction between what a theory is and what a fact is. Now, it is, I'll give you a very good example. It is a scientific, provable fact that water is wet. You happy with that?
Yeah.
How?
Okay.
That is the theory. It is a fact that water is wet. But how is water wet? Well, this is where the theory comes in. Let's look at the theory of why water's wet. And you could have an incredibly strong theory for the wetness of water that could be standing and strong and taut for 1,000 years, and then after 1,000 years, disproven. That doesn't change the fact that water is wet. It just means we were wrong about why it's wet. Okay, evolution is a proven fact. It is a fact. We adapt and change and evolve. Now, we might be wrong about how it happened. That might be true, but the fact that it happened it's not up for debate. How it happened, that might be up for debate, but that it happened, it's not even a thing. I do not believe in evolution. I just accept reality.
But where did we come
again,
from?
and when I say that,
Where
again,
did
I'm not even taking
humans
this
come
because I
from?
know you said you haven't looked into this. I have looked into this. Let me tell you. Have you ever heard of M theory?
No.
But hold on, but
Okay,
brother,
M
before you
theory
get
is
into
a
that M theory,
philosophical
so
theory.
what's that
Hey,
brother's name?
you know what, Gav, just let me say this.
Before Raven, before you get there, wait, hold on, Raven, hold on. Before you get into the M theory, because you brought up a few points there, and I think the brother Raven was gonna ask. Is it Raven? No. What's the other guy's name?
Daniel, yeah.
was gonna ask. Yeah, because you said about the theory of human beings, okay, changing and evolving. How would you? Yeah, could you explain how that happened? How and what was the reason? Like you said, what was the reason for this evolution and how it happened?
Okay, well, I'm just going to finish what I was saying. But the M theory, right? And this is just what we're going to finish off with. I don't actually believe that M theory is true. I actually don't take it to be true. And the reason that I don't put my weight behind M theory is because I don't understand M theory. I could learn about it, but I'm not going to. I don't believe in things, and I either understand something and accept it, or I don't.
But
So
then why not say I don't
as
know?
for what Gab said about the reason, like whether or not we don't even know if there is a reason. All we know is what happened. Like how something happened and why something happened is
But
two
we don't
completely
know.
different
We
things.
do not know how the world started.
It's pressure based on your environment. Like,
Well, yeah, but that's how it happened. It's not why. Like, is there a purpose? Do we have a soul? Is it God guiding us? Is it aliens? We don't know.
But
We know that it happened.
if you're religious, you're gonna have a belief system. That doesn't mean you're right. It's just what you've learned and what you've been brought up with. At the end of the day, if you get 10 scientists,
Mate, what did I just say about
they
M
will all
theory?
be
What did I just say about M theory? I don't hold to M theory because I don't understand it. I don't believe in
I don't
evolution.
know what M theory is. All I know is I don't know how or where the first human or humans was put on this earth. No one knows, and no one has an idea. They can have a theory, they can have a belief system, but no one has proof. No one alive today was alive a billion years ago or whenever the first human was put here.
Okay,
That's a fact.
okay, there was no first human. Like this idea you have of the first human, put it out your head. It's nonsense.
Raven, let me try something, because I think what we need to do is define certain words. So what is a belief and what is a fact and a theory? That's all my contribution is. I just want to know what is a belief and what is a fact.
The fact is that water is wet. Why is water wet is the theory.
No, I'm asking to define specific words so we understand where we're coming from, because the way I define belief is the acceptance of something to be true without any evidence, as opposed to knowledge or what we know as fact. Fact is something that's proven with evidence. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That's real talk. That's good.
So when we're talking about belief now, in the sense that of belief of evolution and whatnot, we're saying, you're saying that it's not proven without any facts, right? That's what I understand you're trying to say, Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, like, there is a reason where the first human came from, but no one knows that reason. We've all got,
There
and
was
we
no
can all
first
have.
human.
Okay, so
we're
yeah.
saying that when you look at the fossils that we've collected, the first so-called human, based on the evolutionary line that I pointed out, was Homo habilis, which we call tool man. And Homo habilis is, they found fossils of Homo habilis, so hence that's what we call the first human.
Yeah, but that name is just something that humans have called it. You know, at the end of the day,
That's the point.
but we don't know. Like when they say, "Oh, we found the fossil, the old, like the furthest back human," we like that still doesn't explain why was that human on this earth. There was obviously a reason or a start pattern on how humans were put on this earth, and where why humans were put on this earth. But for that fact reason, we physically don't know.
There doesn't have to be like a reason why they're put on this earth. The point is that based on animals surviving is why they had to, what's it called? That's why the first human came about, because they had to think more to be able to deal with the environment that they were in. Do you understand?
Yeah, of course. You know, like you can even go back and say, you know, when people say, well, when dinosaurs were on this earth, there was no such thing as humans, and some people will say we evolution became from dinosaurs and blah blah blah. But that still doesn't explain why a human was made on this earth.
Yeah,
You know,
I was gonna,
we don't know.
I was gonna say something what the brother said, you know, because he said the animal, whatever the prior to the human being come out, that animal or you know proto human had to think more, hence why they you know they evolved and survived. But you got to look at other animals that are around prior to Homo sapiens, and you know they got extinct. You know why is it something in their cells didn't
It's
allow them to think properly to
that,
survive? If we're saying it's a survival mechanism that
yeah,
allowed us to evolve and you know survive and still be here today, surely other animals would have had the same, you know,
one example.
the same process of being able to survive. But the question I still wanted to get to is
That's true.
what was the reason for us, you know, what was the reason of us changing, and how did we evolve? Like how? I want to know that. Like brother, I wanted him to ask the question, Raven. How did we evolve, and how did we get to this state, and why?
Okay. You know what? It's just occurred to me that we might be talking cross purpose. Like some of the confusion might be we're saying the same words, thinking the other person means the same thing, and they're not. So just to clarify, what do people like, Joseph? Like when you say the word evolution, like what is your understanding of that? Because I want to make sure we are talking about the same thing.
Someone just super chatted saying skinny gang sign, dude. First of all, it's not nice to say skinny, like that's now getting personal. And it wasn't a gang sign, that was just a pose I'd done. But yeah, like
Don't let the comment section trip you up, bro. People are just gonna be talking, bro.
there's no need to
Can't
talk
all look
about
like Gabs with his top off.
listen, there's no need to talk about appearance, man. I respect everyone's
Bro,
appearance,
don't let
no
it
matter
affect
what.
me, man. I'm 5 foot tall. You understand? Like people are always gonna talk about me being small, fam. I don't care, bro. I just go, okay, cool.
And people are always going to talk about me being big. I'm like, all right, cool. It's not a problem.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
Let me just switch things up real quickly. Yeah, Gabs is about to go in, yeah, but I wanted to get answer. Oh, sorry, Raven was about to go in. Answer, are you there?
Yes, my bro, I'm here.
Yo, I know you can chime in, yeah, and answer these questions, right?
Yeah, sorry, bro. I was a bit busy earlier. I missed out the first like hour and a bit of the show, but I've been listening from the last like maybe 15, 20 minutes. I think Afro Man's got it covered, to be honest. Like I like a lot of the things that I heard him say. So I think he's given us quite a good understanding of the scientific kind of viewpoint, to be fair. But yeah, if there's anything like specific, I mean, you know, things have gone off the rails a little bit here and there. So if there's anything more specific, I'm more than happy to give my view on it or to try and answer a question.
Yeah, I think you should like break it down from your perspective, because obviously my one, I just want people in the audience to be able to see whether or not we have a similar understanding of it. That's the point. So break it down from your perspective, innit?
Yeah, cool. I can do that. No problem. Yeah, the way I see things, I mean, I didn't really know about evolution until I read a book by one of my favorite authors, Terry Pratchett, and it just happened to be specifically about evolution and the whole of Darwin's life. So I just kind of accidentally happened to get a basic education in it. But I kind of worked out that this is not a light thing. The theory of evolution is not to be taken lightly. It's not something that you can say, oh, it's all a load of rubbish, or, you know, it's all a conspiracy, all the Western scientists have made it up to fool us or control it. That's just nonsense. If you're going to go down conspiracy lines like that, you may as well say anything you've ever been taught or ever found out is just as susceptible to be a lie or a conspiracy, literally. Because the theory of evolution is probably the strongest theory we have in science in terms of the different lines of evidence that come to back it up. Literally, the way I see it is this, and this is a huge claim, but it's a very specific one. I say that every single thing that any human being has ever found out about any living creature that has ever existed supports the theory of evolution. We have never found any aspect of any living creature that has ever existed which refutes the theory of evolution. It is a very good explanation of every single thing we know about every living creature we've ever come across. That's a very big, but a very specific claim. So yeah, that's what I say about it. And the reason for that is quite simple. Evolution this is what Darwin worked out. He went on a trip around the world. He logged what different animals were like, the physical side of things, you know, what they fed on, what they ate, what their environment was like, whether they had to be big or small or strong or tough or clever, you know, the kind of things that dictated survival in a particular environment. So he worked out and he mulled it over for 10, 20 years before he really hit home on the key thing. And that was this, that all creatures have some sort of variance in heredity, meaning that when any animal gives birth to its children would not be identical to it, and it would not be identical to each other. There will always be some variance. There will be some differences amongst them. Any of your brothers and sisters, there will be differences. All creatures have this variance. Now, this is the first thing, which is a fact about living things. So now the second thing is sorry, go on.
Answer. I think that's the second thing. The first thing is replication. First thing is replication. Second thing is variation.
Yeah.
Right?
You're being more specific. I was actually going to be very general about it, so I was only going to make two steps to it. But yeah, if you want to be more specific, you're right. Yeah, you're right. The first thing is the replication of the DNA, which is obviously not going to be replicated perfectly because there's going to be some mutations and there's going to be some engineering situations which mean that we don't replicate genes perfectly. When certain cells and certain types of cell division do that, but that's not the case for our branch of life, or you know, in that specific scenario. So yeah, so the genes are replicated, and organisms are kind of developed from them, and they are not identical to each other because of the variance amongst them. Yeah, so you could break it down to those steps in that way. You're right. The main thing is that there's variance. That's the key thing. So given the fact that, you know, any animal is going to have a bunch of children which are all going to be slightly different, that in itself would not be evolution. The key thing when you mix that in with the second important factor, which is environmental selection, and this is that the environment is totally independent of the fact that your children are different from each other, but it's going to dictate which one of them is going to survive. So if the environment is cold and harsh and it's really hard to get food, only the strong and the tough and the, you know, the really doggedly determined are going to survive. If the environment is full of food and comfort and shelter, they're not going to be pushed to develop any amazing or important features to enable survival. So it's always going to look to us that they were designed for a particular environment. But in reality, all that's happened is the natural environment has selected from the genetic variation which things are going to survive enough to reproduce or not. Simple as that. So that's why when you look in any particular environment, you see creatures that seem to have been designed and fit perfectly for that environment. But if they hadn't had those features to survive, they would not have been the ones that got through to survive. It's really kind of silly the way that mainly religious people look at it, because they really start off with the assumption that there is a designer. Whereas when you look at nature and you see how these things have evolved and changed, you would naturally say, no, the natural forces have led to all this variation and the fact that creatures look so specifically designed for specific purposes and places. But the fact is that would naturally be the case anyway, with or without a designer, because the environment would still naturally select from the genetic variability that was there. So
could I actually just give some
anything either way.
Well said. Well said.
Actually,
the only thing I would add to that, sorry, just to finish off, the only thing I would add to that is oodles and oodles of time. Yeah, because that's the third thing that people tend to forget. You get these small changes and small variations amongst species or creatures up to a point, but then that wouldn't lead from a cat to become a lion. But over millions of years, it does, and it literally explains everything.
Yeah, I mean, just to I just want to I want to give some real life examples of evolution that I can produce to Daniel, and also Gabs. I think it was me you said, like, why is it some creatures go extinct and others don't? It depends. I mean, like, if every single person on this panel was suddenly transported to the middle of the South Pole, we'd all die. That's it. We're extinct. But one of the things to understand, there's this idea that when you have a child or a baby of whatever species, that this offspring is born, for want of a better word, pure, that is born with a clean slate. That's actually not how it goes. And actually, when the next person was talking, I'm going to look up this article that actually is from a Swedish geneticist group, which actually shows about there was a period, I think it was in the 1800s, where you had two communities in Sweden. I think they were only about 10 miles apart, but they ended up with a famine, and it actually affected the DNA, and they passed that on, and this is still found in their descendants today. Now, you have to understand that random mutation is something that is constantly occurring. Like, you are always getting random mutations in your DNA, and you pass that on. It's also something that has to be taken into account, is that parental DNA is the dominant DNA. So, like, if you were to get two dwarfs, chances are they're going to have a kid that's a dwarf. Or if you get, one parent that has an incredibly long pinky finger, chances are your kid's going to have it. I mean, just to give a very clear example, imagine you've got two kids, right? One of them is average, the other's autistic. 20, 30 years from now, your two kids come up to you, Daddy, guess what? You're going to be a grandparent. Are you honestly going to tell me you would not be expecting or preparing yourself to have an autistic grandchild? And which one do you think is more likely to give it you? The autistic one or the non-autistic one? Now, when it goes to species of adaptation, evolution versus extinction, I'll tell you a fantastic real-life example for this is elephants in Africa. Like, we all know about the ivory trade in Africa, right? You got people hunting these elephants, going on the edge of extinction. And this is actually having an evolutionary effect on them right now. The ones with the greatest ivory are the most worthwhile to poachers. So that's the ones that are being killed. So the only ones that are left breeding are those with smaller tusks. And you can actually see it in real time. The tusks of these elephants are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, if the poachers aren't stopped, let's say that the government manages to, step up troops and slows it down to the point that the elephants aren't hunted to extinction. Now, number one, they're going to eventually lose their tusks. They're already on their way to doing it. So you would have the evolution based on natural selection. The natural selection is the ivory poachers going for the tusks. If you haven't got no tusks, they're not going to kill you, you're going to breed. Now, if they're not stopped before the elephant reaches this point, if it does, that's it, extinct. They haven't adapted, they haven't evolved fast enough for their environment being hunted for ivory. Now, if you think of creatures in real time, and I would really encourage you to go on Google right now and look up the Russian silver fox experiment, where you actually had the deliberate evolution of a fox, which I think within 30 years ended up looking like a Labrador dog, like change color, change behavior. It's fascinating. But one of the things Ansar was saying is, like, this idea of the first human, there's no such thing as a first human. None. What happens is that every creature born or hatched or spawned is the same species as its parent. There was never a monkey that gave birth to a human. That's not how it works, right? I mean, just like you got dolphins and whales, they're mammals. Like, their fingers have fused into what looks like the fin of a fish. It's not. I mean, this is going on right now. You look at polar bears. Polar bears are evolving into aqua animals before our eyes. You look at penguins. Like, you look at penguins when they run, and they still have the instinct to fly. They flap they're not even wings at this point, but they still have them. They still flap when they run, trying to fly. But where would they fly to? We're in the middle of the South Pole. So they've had a mutation. And the mutation has progressed to the point that their wings are now fused together. They're almost what we would take one look at and recognize as flippers. You actually look at the studies of penguins from like 70 years ago. You look at the evolution that they've taken. They're getting better and better. They're holding their breath for longer. They're losing their feathers. They're becoming sleeker. They're basically turning into the bird version of a dolphin.
But what has that got to do with what has that got to do with humans? How humans started on this earth? Can I just say? You are talking a lot. But
Again, parental genes are dominant, right? So, did you understand my point when I said that if you have two kids, one that's not autistic and the other that is autistic, and you know, if both of them come up to you and say you're going to be a granddad, you know, you're going to expect to have an autistic grandchild, and you're going to expect it's more likely the autistic one is going to give it to you than a non-autistic one.
But listen,
you with me so far?
Yeah, but what I can't understand is, listen, there is a fact in DNA, right? So if you have, you know, I don't know, a ginger gene, like it could carry down. That I completely understand.
Speaking as a ginger, gingers do not use that word. You call us redheads.
Okay, I apologize, but listen. At the end of the day, what my point has to go back to. I understand things over a million years can change, and I don't know what that guy was speaking. I think his name was Scientist. He was really speaking a lot of really good sense because I liked what he was saying. But what he's saying is kind of like what I'm saying in the fact that yes, things do adapt to different environments, but that doesn't say why or how a human was put on planet Earth. That doesn't say
exactly
who put the human on planet Earth and why. That's the question right there.
What I would say to that is, in a way, you are right to say that we don't. It's more like it's subjective what the scientists classify as humans and what they don't classify as humans. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
yeah, I mean,
like the Homo habilis that I'm talking about was the first classification of humans that exists. That was to exist, that what started off the hominin family. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
yeah,
they base that on the fact that they use tools, and to this day we use tools. So that's the point, that these animals use tools to a degree where it was for hunting, whether it was for similar to Homo habilis would even be similar to how the chimpanzees are going about right now. Specifically the common chimpanzee or the bonobo chimp, they use tools like similar to Homo. Well, I don't want to really say that because I'm not 200% sure on that, but yeah, in that sense that it's the idea that they use tools. That's what made them classify them as humans to start with.
yeah. No, that's fair enough. But I think a lot of this chat has, you know, a lot of them words I don't understand because obviously I haven't looked into them words. But the way I see it is a lot of people have an opinion. Oh wait, 1 second. No. Okay, a lot of the comments are being really rude. Don't say Nazi and don't call me skinny bald. That's really offensive.
Whoa.
Please, guys, chill out in the comments. I'm new here.
Please.
No racism, no nothing. We should keep this.
It's never gonna listen. It's never gonna happen. You're gonna have to just have a thicker skin. Do you understand? And deal with it.
I'm just not used to it, bro. But yeah, like at the end of the day, I always question myself and say, why are we here? Like, what religion is right? Is there a religion? Is there a God? If there's a God, who made God? If there's a creator, what creator made the creator? Like, you look at this earth and you think, what the hell? Like, where was the starting point? And when there is a starting point, who made that starting point? It's mind-boggling. But it takes a lot to say, you know what? We don't know. And we can have a theory, but you know what I'm saying?
This is how I understand creation, because people say creation, but what I say is transformation. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you break it down to the sub level, like the lowest form of us is energy, and all energy did was transform from one form to another form. The same elements that we find in our body, we find it in the sun too. Hence they say start where we are, like stardust. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's the idea of what I see. I don't see it as what's it called, we were created. I see it as like we transform from one form to another. But hey, you know, that's just my overlook or outlook, or however they say it, on this whole situation, innit?
It's crazy. Like you look at like alligators, for instance, and they say, well, they go back to the dinosaur days, and you think, well, okay, well, if there's still animals to this day where did the animals come from? You know, who made the animals? Why are humans different to animals? Why have humans got that free will where animals kind of,
that's that's the thing though. We are not, we are, the problem with human beings is they like to put themselves on this special type of pedestal. We are animals. We are, in fact, yeah, I would even say on some degree, we're probably less than animals, because if we can make things like guns and, you know, bombs to kill ourselves, animals to themselves.
Afro-Man, sorry, Afro, sorry to cut you there, bro, but I'll give him the best example. No animal has been known to harm other creatures purely for pleasure. The human being is the only animal that we know of that harms other animals purely for pleasure. They always have a reason, whether protection, defense, fear, whatever, territory, anything. Human beings are the only creatures that harm other creatures purely for pleasure. Now, if that's not a sign of them being somehow more, at least morally advanced than us, then what is?
Yeah. So I was going to ask you a question, but to that then, if we're the only animals that act like that, so what got put into the humans, what got added to us to make us, you know, think and act this way, if we're different to every single other animal on this planet? Because you just said, obviously, human beings are the only animal on this planet that do these things. So to me, that seems like something has been added. You know, it seems to me that we're different. So if we're different from all the animals that are acting in a certain way on this planet, that means, you know, something or someone must have interjected and now altered the way we think. You know, because now we're different from the other animals. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, but you can't say someone or something has interjected anything. All you can say is that the evolutionary path that our ancestors took led them to grow a certain part of their brain, which is the frontal lobe, more than most other animals have. So it's known that human beings have a larger frontal lobe than pretty much any other creature. And the ones that do display signs of the same types of community behaviors and relationships, the same type of bullying and, you know, alpha male type business going on amongst chimpanzees. So all the animals that have a similar type of brain to us do behave in slightly similar ways, but we have the extreme of that type of brain, and it is explained through evolutionary, factual, and physical processes how we got that difference of type of brain, and that pretty much is explained.
Can I ask a question? So if I understand what you're saying, the ancestors who we would say were probably, I don't know, Africa, Middle East, or wherever they were at a particular time, you know, behaved in a particular way like the rest of the animals, yes? Like all the other animals. And then now those ancestors decided to move for whatever reason, yeah? And now through their moving or, you know, learning to use tools, grew a part of their brain, or part of their brain grew, like you said, but you said other animals have it, but through their brain growing, through learning how to use tools or movement to a different environment, now made our ancestors and us rapidly advance into the point where now we are the only humans, you know, we are the only species on this planet that creates, you know, computers and iPhones and telephones and helicopters and, you know, missiles that, you know, all these type of technologies, just because of a few ancestors learned how to carry tools or move from one place of the earth to the other.
Yeah, but the thing is,
I think there must have been some sort of me personally, I think there must have been some sort of interaction with something else, because it's just a rapid change. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, what you've said there, I mean, I guess if you were to, what you've said there is not factually incorrect. What you've said is actually still correct, but you've been extremely uncharitable with your language, let's say, yeah? So, I mean, I actually have a feeling that Afro-Man knows more about this than me, but if you want, I can tell you quickly, you said that because it comes down to basically a few animals, this ape-like creature that we evolved from, you know, got a few better tools. It's not as simple as that. There's very, very strong evidence to suggest why the theory has come up with the ideas it has. Now, I'll give you two very important examples. We were near the beaches. Yeah, there was a you know, in East Africa, where the, you know, hominid creatures were evolving and where our ancestors came from. there was a large period of time, millions of years, we spent around the savannas near the beaches of East Africa. Now that meant that we got into eating fish, and fish is obviously very useful for the brain. Now you add that up over millions of years, it has an effect. Another important factor is that the jawline of a human being, the jaw muscles and jaw structure of all human beings, is very small and slim and weak compared to the jaw structure of most other apes who evolved with us. So we got the fish, we got fire, we started cooking food. That encouraged our brains to grow more because of the meat. We were eating fish, that encouraged our brains to grow. We had smaller jaw muscles and jaw structures that allowed our craniums to expand and our brains to get bigger over millions of years. So that's some pretty good evidence to demonstrate why that we got that special feature. Totally random, totally unpredictable. Nobody chose, no creature or being came and said, right, which creature shall we give a big brain so they can make spaceships 3,000 years from now, 50,000 years from now, or 2 million years? Nobody done that. The physical laws of nature, the environment was still selecting based on genetic variation, and we got a thumb, which was very useful. We got this extra part of our brain, the frontal lobe, and we got adaptability, which means that we did start traveling all around the world. Our bipedal nature and the fact we came down from the trees, we did. And Gabs, just I'll say this point because I know that you'll benefit from this. Now, what you said at the end, about us having the brains to make spaceships and do complex mathematics and things like that. Bro, all that's happened is that we have the same brain, almost identically same brain as our ancestor 50,000 years ago, even 100,000 years ago. Yeah, they could learn language, they could program computers, but the fact is we only managed to do it because of culture. Yeah, meaning that once we developed language, we were able to start saving our information better. Yeah, so our modules in our brain that we use to do mathematics and build spaceships, they didn't evolve for millions of years for maths and spaceships. They evolved to climb trees and throw shit at other monkeys and find things to have sex with. Yeah, that's what they evolved for. We, because of language and our culture that we developed in the last mainly 50, 60,000 years, because we went that route of culture and language, so, in the way that it happened, we have now transferred the usefulness of the modules in our brains to maths and physics. We've reapplied them. That's why we have to spend 20 years bringing up our kids, because otherwise they'd be savages in the jungle like our ancestors were 100,000 years ago. It's because of the culture of saving the information, and now we bring our kids up with literally everything all the main things that human beings have ever done over the last 100,000 years. Our kids already grow up literally armed to the teeth with all that knowledge already. And that's what culture is, and that's what culture does. So I think it's unfair for you to describe it in the way you did, even though you weren't wrong. Do you understand?
What's your name, Scientific? Because you speak a lot of sense. I really like how you explain things.
Yeah, my name's Answer, bro. Answer.
Cool. You know what? Like everything he's saying is so true, and like every human, the way they are today, every one of you listening now, you are all who you are because of how you've been brought up. If you lived in a jungle, if you were born in a jungle with no humans, and you would live like the jungle. But this is a fact. We adapt to our surroundings. We adapt to the people that teach us what. This is why I always debunk religion, because we don't know what religion is right, but we're not even going to go there. At the end of the day, when it comes to evolution or human life, or where aliens come from, we don't know. We do not know if animals and humans were at the same time put on this planet, how we were put on this planet, why we were put on this planet. This is an answer that I can say, well, this is what I think, but I don't know. That is the final thing anyone can say. They can say, I have a feeling this is what happened or why this happened, but I don't know. And you know what I'm saying? That's how I think of it.
Is the observation of facts and things that we see in nature. So we can find, I agree with what you say, we could get close to, but we could never fully realize how we got here, understand how we got here, but we can study what we have and what is available to us and make, deductions and make fact about what we have, which is science, isn't it? So we can get close to it. And this is the conversation that we're having now. We're talking about scientific things. How did we evolve? So we can get close to it in that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, like, it all goes down to the same thing, though. Like, you can get so many scientists that are gonna shout at each other saying they're wrong. Same with religious belief. You can have 5 different religions saying this is where God came from. This is why God put humans on. But they're all just saying their belief system or what they've been brought up to believe is the right thing. And science, I believe in science to a point. I believe that science has been proven in many ways, but many scientists will say each other's wrong. So to say we know from science is actually wrong because we don't know from science, if you get what I'm saying.
Here's some. You're speaking about science and evolution. Can I say this real quick?
Go on.
Can you? Yeah, you're speaking about evolution and stuff, right? But from the scripture, from the Bible, we can see that the Bible spoke of de-evolution first before any modern man was around. Thinking about the serpent. How did you? And science confirms this, that the serpent once had legs, and the Bible says that God made him lose those legs. That's before any of your science was around.
But that's if you believe the scripture that you're listening to, like a Bible compared to the Torah or the Quran. Every Bible is different. Every Bible will say what that book is saying about life. At the end of the day, you can't go by a book. You know, like I always bring up the Harry Potter theory. The world started again, and we found 8 books of Harry Potter. People would think there was wizards and magic in them. It all comes down to, do you believe a book? That's a complete other story. That's another
Daniel,
talk.
You just threw it aside like it was nothing. But Moses was not around during the times of the serpent when they had legs, according to the Bible. So whoever wrote that in the Torah had to be a divine being, right? There's no way that man from 15 or 1400 BC knew about the serpent losing his legs.
Sorry, I just
and then hold up.
Okay.
And then we got other things in the scripture that brings about things like God said the great deep was broken up. What ancient man walked around under the ocean in the abyss to find this great deep? And then we look in science right now. Yes, there's a crack in the earth where the great deep was broken up, and there's 3 times the water of oceans under the crust of the earth. How did Moses know about that?
Okay, let me tell you something very quick. Okay, let me tell you something very quickly.
I can wipe that away and just stick to the ape man. He's talking about, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but he's trying to say, oh, we never change into other species. But yeah, what about Tiktaalik? Tiktaalik was a fish. When did that become everything we know? When did that become a horse, a reptile that flies? When did all this stuff happen according to this man? And then he wants to say that there's no changing of species. No, there a monkey never gave birth to a human. What? But you want me to expect that a fish brought forth horses, birds, reptiles, and the whole 9?
I never said that. I just want to point this out. I don't think that a bird is going to turn into a fish. I'm not stupid.
So what is fate?
I did not say that.
No, I'm not saying. I was just saying, because you said that what was on about where I'm assuming you're quoting. I was assuming you're talking to me because I was the one who said, a monkey is not going to give birth to a human.
Yeah, I was talking to you and science.
Not going to become a bird.
What in general is fate? What in general is fate according to you people? Fate.
Okay, guys. Let me say something, right? When you go to the beach, right? When you go to the beach and there's a tide, so you see the water completely disappear. We know now it is a tide, right? We know it is proven that this is what happens. Now, if you believe into the books and all that stuff, and you're going to see that Moses parted the ocean, how do you not know that 20,000 years ago, when the water just disappeared, they was like wow, this is an act of God. My God, like how is the water just disappeared? Where nowadays we know it's minor. This is the same. This is the same thing you guys are trying to say about
faith. What is faith? Can you explain what faith is?
what faith?
Yeah, or belief.
Right, a belief is something like it.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to get into that.
Yeah,
hold on,
okay.
family. Hold on, family.
Okay.
I'm gonna go way off track.
Yeah, can I just ask? Kalam, you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. No, hold on. Okay, that's one. Just quick service announcement. Right about now, I'm just drinking on my smoothie right now. And I'm enjoying the show. You know, I'm actually enjoying the show, family. You lot have done an excellent job. Let me just salute. Let me salute everybody on the panel real quickly. If I don't get a chance to, man like Raf Afro man has been holding it down. Shouts out to Raven, Answer, Kelly, Raskin. You know, my brother Gabs, Daniel. I need to get my brother Devils to just come in and spit that wisdom. Scholastic just came in and and done his thing as well. But real quickly, let me get Gabs back in and say, family, thank you guys for actually tuning in. But I want to actually relax back and finish off my my smoothie and help with the healing of my human being self. Of course I'm God, but I mean, like, I've got my body, my flesh that I've taken on. One thing real quickly, what I love about religion, and some people who don't, take on a scientific approach, is this. I got my beautiful Muslim brothers and sisters, they're opposed to evolution, and their view of evolution, I'm not saying this is the correct view of evolution, but their view of evolution is monkeys turning into man. They find that preposterous, but their form of metamorphosis is okay to them. They believe that, human beings can transform into monkeys, or should I say apes and pigs, according to the Quran. But, that's okay. That's fine. We can believe that, but we can't believe in evolution. No problem. Then we got my my good Christian brothers and sisters out there. I just want to be. Can I just be? I just want to do this for real quickly. I just want to break things up real quickly. Now, my good Christian brothers and sisters, believe that souls are planted inside of human beings. Yeah, no problem. That's fine. That's fine. And they also believe that there is things called spirits and other types of souls that also can inhabit human beings, right? And these same spirits and souls can also be transferred into other bodies as well, such as pigs, for example. Like, Jesus, cast out the legion into the pigs. But the story of evolution, or the concept of evolution, is something very hard to grasp the head around. We can believe that demons or spirits can house bodies, and they can house human bodies, and they can also be housed in animals such as pigs. But it's hard that human beings could have evolved from archaic, humanoid-looking creatures. But anyways, I digress. I just wanted to say that. I just want to get out of my head before anything else. Gabs, can I get you back in, family?
Yeah, bro. Nah, that's cool. What was I gonna say? Because I wanted to get back into this whole. I like this topic. It's good that we're having this discussion. It's good. It's gonna be hard to get to the answer at the end, but I want to get back to this whole, human beings and evolving and the state, because I think one brother mentioned it in the comment section that we still have monkeys and apes, around the earth today, and they are still in there. Well, they're still looking ape-like, so to speak. And, they say that Homo sapiens and the monkeys and the apes that we have around today, we all share a common ancestor. So my thing is always like, who is this common ancestor, and what did they look like? Because now we have a one common ancestor. And to me, the questions that come to my mind is this common ancestor, amongst those, the common ancestors which Homo sapiens came from and the monkeys came from, were they all the same? Like, like you have animals today, like the zebras, The zebras all look the same, you know, pigeons, they all look the same. Lions all look the same. Elephants all look the same. Yeah. Polar bears, they look the same. So our common ancestors, yeah, did they follow that same trait like the animals, like as all looking the same? Because now we have a point where we all came from this common ancestor, but at a particular point, something happened where the apes of today and the monkeys today went left, and the Homo sapiens, the human beings of us today, went right. And I just want to know was what happened at that point. Yeah, what happened at that point where we went right and went on the way we are now, and the apes and the monkeys of today went left and carried on, you know, looking the way they look. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and until I don't know if there's been any evidence of what the common ancestor that we came from was, or who it was, and how did they look. But that'll be a good discussion. So, if there's anyone in the panel that can clarify or let me know, because I want to know is how we evolved from, you know, from that common ancestor into human beings, because there's a big change, you know.
I think they was say loose.
A little paragraph, if you don't mind, about this topic. If you allow me. All right.
Go on, my G, but remember, yeah, we've only got a few more minutes left on the show.
I just read two paragraphs then. For many years, there have been reports that fossil remains of ape-like humans have been found. Scientific literature abounds with artists' renderings of such creatures. Are these the evolutionary transitions between beast and man? Are ape man or ancestors? Evolutionary scientists claim that they are. That is why we often read expressions such as this article titled in Science magazine, How Ape Became Man. True, some
is there
evolution.
any chance you can give the link to Kalam and you can screen share it?
Okay, but we don't have much time, so I read this quick and I can do that later on maybe. True, some evolutionists do not feel that these theoretical ancestors of man should rightly be called apes. Even so, some of their colleagues are not so exciting. Stephen J. Gould says people evolved from ape-like ancestors, and George Gaylord Simpson stated the common ancestor will certainly be called an ape or a monkey in popular speech by anybody who saw it. Since the term ape and monkey are defined by popular usage, man's ancestors were apes or monkeys. So the question is, what does evolutionary theory assert that our ancestors were? Okay, I'm done.
Okay, guys.
Real quick, I'd like to salute my big brother, big bro, for actually showing the love and the support by donating. His message to all of us is this: support independent free thought. Free thought, though, is not free. Help our best thinkers. Love to my brother, big bro, man. Come on, G. Come on. Absolute love. Sorry.
You know, I watched that YouTube video of Big Bro saying about the importance of free speech. I wanted to print it and frame it.
Okay, guys. I just want to say one thing before we all go. A massive thank you to Callum for doing this stuff. You know, it's always good. I always love to hear other people's opinion. Not everyone's going to think I'm talking real, or everyone's going to think, why have I got my opinion? But you know what? Raven, love to you for bringing your facts to the point. And this is what I like. If everyone thought exactly the same, this world would just be a boring place. So, yeah, thanks for having me, guys. And
yeah, you remember earlier I said I was going to look up a study for you, which talked about just how you act in your own life can affect your DNA and then affect that into your children. I've just posted it into the chat. So, oh crap, that's the words themselves.
Okay, just hit me up on Twitter or Insta, Dan9700. Send me the link and we'll chat. We'll chat.
I don't have Twitter or Instagram.
All right, just get me up. Okay.
I have Skype.
Sign up to it.
All right, family.
I
So
gotta be
before
honest,
we
I've
close,
been looking at. Sorry.
yeah, before we close it down, does anybody have any last final words?
We need to do something like this again, but this time we prepared because we had like a little time to come at this, and like there's still a lot that we need to decipher about this whole thing. I still can't believe people. I'm seeing comments saying macroevolution. I believe in that, but I don't believe in macroevolution. I'm like, how can you
It's
have
the same thing?
Exactly, like how can you have the micro without the macro? Do you understand that the little thing affects the big thing? You understand what I'm saying? So
You get a load of little things and it becomes a big thing.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. But it was definitely a good show. I liked it. You know, shout out everyone in the comment section and shout out people on the panel as well. I like that. Yeah, so yeah, it's a good show, man. Thanks for
We'll have to do part 2, not another night, and carry it on.
If we do part 2, Kalam, mate, reach out to Aaron Ra. I'm begging you. Reach out to Aaron Ra.
Bring in Brother Ngozi. That's what you need to bring in. Brother Ngozi. Brother Ross.
Brother Ngozi.
Team Osiris. Come
Oh.
on.
Ooh, Ngozi would have chewed us up nicely still. You're right. You're actually right. We're definitely going to do this again.
Yeah.
What's about cosmology? What's about cosmology next? Let me know. Who's into cosmology? Or the beginning of the year?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I like a bit of that, to be honest.
I like it.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know much, but I like a bit of that still.
You know what? Since we're talking about evolution and cosmology, and I think Kalam's just about to shut down the show, I'll leave you with something that could open up for the cosmology one. Have you ever heard that if there was a nuclear holocaust, cockroaches would survive?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Here's something. As soon as I heard this, I looked it up, and it turns out that cockroaches could actually survive the vacuum and radiation of space. As soon as I found that out in a biology book, first thing that came into my mind: why would a species from this planet have the ability to survive the conditions of deep space?
But there's another species called a tardigrade or something like that. It's I don't know, like it's just the way they were set up to do it. So
Kalam, thanks for the panel. I just have some last words, and I'm out of here. All right, can I say it?
Please do.
All right, man. I just read the scripture. Don't be upset, maybe. It's from Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 1. It's faith is a sure expectation of what is hoped for, the evident demonstration of realities that are not seen. For by means of it, the man of ancient times had witness born to them. Okay, thanks to you all. And that's all I have to say.
All right, guys.
All right.
I'm gonna go. It's I didn't realize the time, but yeah, thanks again, and thanks Callum, and yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Be good.
Wonderful. Thank you, family. And again, family, okay, we've been nominated for Sarnetta TV Awards. Okay, for Sarnetta TV Awards. We're the only UK-based company or group of it that have been nominated for a Sarnetta TV Award. All right, and you already know what we come on here to do is to share information with you, to get you guys to think, outside of the box, and just to provoke you guys a little bit, okay? And you know, out of 26 nominations, we're the 25th nomination, and you know, it says here best YouTube information channel. There is two other people that's been two other companies have been nominated, but of course, Titans TV. We want to fly out there, okay? We want to make it to America. We want to actually receive this award, and we want to win this award fundamentally. Why? Because we want to bring this home. We want to, you know, come home and be the champions. Be like, yeah, we did it, baby. We conquered the world. You know how we usually start off, okay? You know, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Talk with the Titans. And we carry on to say from London, UK to the US of A and worldwide. So right about now, we want to make sure, yeah, we win this international award and actually, you know, get the recognition that we deserve. And UK, okay, like people from America, all around the world is tuning in. They want to come down to places like Speaker's Corner to see what it's all about. They want to be part of this community in particular, the Titans TV family. So family, please, if you can, all right, here is the link. I mean, Kisspens is always clicking on the link. Look, Kisspens. As soon as you go there, boom, takes you right to it. You could just simply, put in your username, put in your password, and so forth, and like literally log into the show. All right. Oh, sorry, log in to nominate us and vote for us, basically. So please do that. Okay. I'm asking y'all. Okay. Can you do that for me? I know you can. You don't love us. So yeah, let me get back into this now. So family, we're gonna shut down the show now, and I'm gonna see you guys on the other side. But of course, we're gonna continue off air. And if any of you guys want to join us, and actually discuss with the panel members pertaining to this topic and other topics, please do jump in and join us, and we can get it in. Okay. And of course, we're gonna take you guys over to cosmology on another show. I'm not too sure when it is. We're going to be discussing cosmology. And any of you guys who are smart and and you're queued up, secretly, yeah, we're now teaching you Kemetic philosophy. Why do I say that? Because we're now teaching you what? We're now teaching you anthropology, cosmology, and theology. Know thyself, know the mysteries of the universe, and you will know God. So come on, family, join us on this mission of self-development, knowledge, and awareness. Family, I'm signing out now, so peace and love. Oh, man. Young Cali, baby.